Okay, guys. Yeah, let's continue. So we're gonna be doing things I wish I'd have known before we got married by Gary Chapman, and you really gotta read the book to get the gist of the issues because like this is just like scratching the surface, or maybe even barely scratching the surface. The book is way more interesting. Anyway, uh, the first one says being in love is not an adequate foundation for building a successful marriage. You know, the honeymoon phase dies maybe within 2 years. You have to face the reality of compatibility issues such as intellectual dialogue, emotional control, social interests, spiritual beliefs, and common values. Okay? Uh, the second one, or the second chapter, it says that romantic love has two stages. The first is crazy in love or mad in love. Nothing can go wrong. We're perfect for each other, you know? And then the second stage is the one that is like more intentional, whereby you put in the work, you know? Yeah. The a voice inside my head was like, work it until you break your back. That's not right. Anyway, sometimes when you have to silence your thoughts, that should have been silenced. Anyway, you submit your CV and take it up full time. Okay, that's where you have to know and talk about their love language, which brings us to a more popular. We've already done the five love languages anyway. And what's your primary love language and why? Well, okay, like mother, like daughter, like father, like son. It's not a myth. Sometimes, as you grow older, you tend to project onto your lover what you saw your parents doing when you were growing up. You know, the expectation based on how your parents did things, chores, for example. So, the best thing you can do is to study the strengths and weaknesses of both your parents, like your biological ones and your in-laws, and then they might have implications on you, both of you, and you gotta figure out how to counteract them, especially the weaknesses. Yeah, and come to an agreeable solution, I guess. All right. Now, the fourth, how to solve disagreements without arguing. Hmm. Okay. Yeah. Both of you feel like your ideas are the best, right? Um, So, how do you solve this challenge? Conflicts are natural, okay? There's always like logic versus emotions, you know. Uh, and sometimes you want to be heard so much that you don't want to listen, which could be like a problem, right? So, over here, you just have to be able to request your time to speak. Even if you don't have an answer at that time, you can request time to think and then like bring up the issue later, you know. But like within all these things, like if there are disagreements, then there might have to be a compromise on both sides, or maybe just like you might have to sacrifice your own personal view if the other person's view is like more imminent or maybe outweighs yours at the time. Yeah. So uh yeah, it's all about that. Trying to meet each other halfway on or on each other's side, you know. You'll be able to make the call when the time comes. Anyway, okay, so the fifth one is that apologizing is strength, you know. Yeah, there's some people who go like, I could never apologize, you know, and probably arrogant to think like that. But like, if you know that you've messed up, then the best thing you could say is I'm sorry. And like, some people require details. Like, for example, I'm sorry I didn't listen to you, and then I ended up doing the very same thing that you want me that will happen. And next time I'll listen to you, or maybe next time I'll do this to avoid doing that. You know, you've got to apologize and give a resolution or some form of positive action to ensure that you don't repeat the same mistake in the future. But for some people, just saying I'm sorry is okay. So you have to assess who you're with and how they expect you to apologize. Okay, so after apologizing, you might expect to be forgiven, but you have to know that forgiveness is not a feeling. It does not erase the memory, it does not remove the consequences, it does not rebuild trust, it does not always result in reconciliation. And of course, forgiveness is a choice, especially if someone doesn't apologize, because sometimes people screw up and they don't apologize. So, uh, for your mental health, you have to decide to forgive them even if they don't request it. And like, in terms of rebuilding trust, if for example somebody you're with sees a suspicious message, then they no longer trust you, or maybe like they were out of town and you did something stupid, you might apologize, but then like trusting you is another issue. So you have to find a way to make things okay again. For example, like if you lose somebody's trust, then you have to like take the necessary steps to be more open about your private life to show that you've got nothing to hide. Then probably you'll win back their trust. Anyway, it's like that. Okay, so the seventh, that toilets are not self-cleaning. What does that even mean? Okay, roles in the household. Uh, you know, so over here you've been raised differently. You've got different strengths and weaknesses. So may the best person at a particular chore or at a particular role do it. So you've got to like do your stock counting, the stock counting of your talents or your gifts as far as roles are concerned. And then yeah, whoever is most suited for a particular role or a chore should do it, because I think meritocracy, right? Even in the household. Yeah, because like if you allow somebody who is not good at something to do it, then you're gonna get in trouble somehow, or the other person is not gonna be happy, and you can already see what that leads to. Okay, the eighth is that you gotta make that we need a plan for handling our money, because like money, you gotta save it, share it, and sometimes spend it. So sometimes, for example, there's a very typical one, low hanging fruit. Like as men, we don't quite care about like shopping in a thrifty way. Women can go from store to store or supermarket to supermarket, assess which items are on discount, and then you get it. It becomes so scientific with them. But for us, you just hop in the car, drive to the store, look for whatever is on the list, and then bounce. You don't even bother to compare prices or maybe to check out the details of the brands, which one, yeah, blah, 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 blah. You get it. So, yeah, there's that too. Gotta have a plan for your money. And sometimes there's also the entire issue of like keeping an eye on your expenses, or like budgeting, maintaining the books or taking care of the books. You've got to decide who does it and why, and always making the smart decisions, financial decisions for your future. Like don't buy or get things on credit that you're gonna struggle to pay for. It's okay to be modest. Okay, and by so saying, I think I'm talking about houses and cars. Like no need to overstretch yourself. Anyway, okay, the ninth one is that mutual sex. Okay, that mutual sexual fulfillment is not automatic. You gotta know the other's languages, do some foreplay, and of course, communication is important. And did you know that like even if you're married to somebody, you might rape them? Well, read the book to understand how that happens. Anyway, the 10th is that I was marrying into a family. Well, I think that's what we kind of all know. Dealing with the in-laws. Yeah, I don't even have to go into detail with that, but then you have to be able to like negotiate, understand each other, be open-minded in dealing with situations such that like hanging out with the in-laws or being with them doesn't hurt. Yeah, because like of course you'll be different and have different worldviews and all that. Political, religious, you get it. Okay, okay. The 11th one is that spirituality is not to be equated with going to church. So over here, we're gonna be talking about your beliefs, your spiritual journey, and your faith and other aspects around that. Okay, the 12th, oh God, I've already gone beyond 12 minutes. 10 minutes, I'm sorry. Okay, the 12th is that personality profoundly influences behavior. Okay, there are morning people, night people, pessimists, optimists, introverts, extroverts, organizers, free spirits. Some people are passive, some people are aggressive, and some people are passive aggressive. Boom. Okay, but you do get how personality might influence behavior. Anyway, check out the book to learn more. And the 13th one, which is like really important, especially for people who are in a relationship, is called that developing. Okay, developing. It's actually after the epilogue. This one, developing a healthy dating relationship is probably the most important thing that you could ever do. And there's so many issues addressed in this chapter. Okay, you gotta answer the serious questions about getting to know each other and your background, sexual history or body count. Very sensitive. Because sometimes when you talk about it, whoever you're with might get jealous or whatever. And of course, you gotta deal with that. Okay, there's financial history, your family, education, your goals, you know, and like there also has to be parity in terms of like intellectual, emotional, social, and physical, whatever. But like, yeah, there's so many details in the book. So you just gotta read the book, buy the book, and read the book, and that's it for today. Thank you very much for joining us. See you next time. How do I sign out? I've forgotten what I have to say. Oh, a book a day keeps stupidity away. Hey, hey, boom, we're out.